This is lesson 5-4B from the Algebra Readiness textbook. Begin the study guide problems in your notes packet and compare your answers to mine when you've completed them independently. The first problem we have to tackle, that's similar to one you'll find on your test, is negative 9/11 times 3/11. To multiply fractions, you simply simplify before you multiply if possible. There is no numerator or denominator that I can reduce or simplify, so I multiply the numerator and get negative 27. And 11 times 11 is 121. So this is my answer. The next one, find the product. Make sure that you know that product means multiply because it's the same wording on your test. So if you don't know what the word product is, you're not going to know if you should add, subtract, multiply, or divide 7 1/4 and 12 1/4. So product means multiply. 7 1/4 times 12 1/4. The first step is to convert them to improper. 29/4 times 49/4. And so, let's see, I don't have any common factors here. Do I need to have a common denominator when I'm multiplying? Nope, that just happens to be, but that's not necessary. So when I multiply that, I get 29 times 49. You'll probably have to do a side problem for that one, I would imagine. And you get 1421, and 4 times 4 is 16. Don't accidentally put a 4 in that denominator. That's adding fractions. So don't get confused. So 1421 over 16, but that's very improper, isn't it? So when I divide that out, this is one of those you're going to have to do a division problem for. And it goes in 8 times 16. It actually equals 88 because I worked the problem before, and that equals 1,408. And then 1421 minus 1408, and you get 13/16. Here we go. All right, so today's learning target, now that we've learned how to add and subtract and multiply fractions, today's learning target is to learn to divide fractions. When we're dividing fractions, I want you to take a quick look at these oranges. Do you see that I have 2 oranges right here at the top? And if you take a knife and cut those oranges in half, I now have 4 smaller oranges. But I still have 4 oranges, don't I? 2 divided by 1/2 equals 4. Dividing fractions. To divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. I like to call it the refliprical because the reciprocal is switching the numerator and the denominator of a fraction. For example, the reciprocal of 3/8 becomes 8/3. The reciprocal of 1/2 becomes 2 over 1, or just 2. The reciprocal of negative 7/9 is negative 9/7. Those are not equals. They do not equal each other. Becomes negative 9/7. So reciprocal, flipping the numerator and the denominator. So you'll hear me call it the refliprical. Some of you have learned the rule for dividing fractions as keep it, flip it, switch it. Keep it, switch it, flip it. Excuse me. Keep, switch, flip in 6th grade and 5th grade. Whichever one you use. Using that, let's solve this problem mathematically with the oranges. Mathematically, you keep the first number, and you multiply, instead of divide, by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1, which is the same as 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay? Let's try some more. 2/9 divided by 2/5. So we are going to multiply by the reciprocal. The first number remains unchanged. Don't flip that one. Then you change division to multiplying, so multiply by the reciprocal. 5 over 2. Now I have a multiplication problem, and the rules for multiplication apply. So for example, do you see that 2 and 2 can be simplified before I go and multiply across? They have a common factor of 2. 1 times 5 is 5, and 9 times 1 is 9. 5/9. All right, I always get a chance to throw in some variables. X over 3 divided by x over 4. There's one like this on your test or on your upcoming quiz or test. So do the same thing. Variables are numbers, so the rules for numbers are exactly the same as the rules for variables. The first fraction stays the same, then I multiply by the reciprocal. Then 3 and 4 have no common factors, but x and x sure do. X and x are both divisible by x, and I'm left with 1. 4 times 1 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3. Now we don't leave it improper, do we? Let's rename that as 1 and 1/3. All right, I think that let's try to give this a quick try on your own. Try these 3, and then come on back when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. You're finding the quotient. Remember that quotient means divide. For the first one, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. You change this, you switch division to multiplication and flip the second fraction. Leave the first fraction as it is. When we multiply fractions, we can reduce and by dividing any common factors. Now, 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 1 times 1 is -1. There we go. And 2 times 1 is 2. So -1/2. Letter B. 5a over 8 times 3/2. 5a and 2 have no common factors, and 3 and 8 have no common factors. So I simply multiply the numerators, and I get 15a. Then I multiply the denominators and get 16, and leave it like this. I can't simplify that. Just leave it like that. The last one, 3b over 7 times 7/6. Now I have some simplifying, don't I? 7 and 7 are both divisible by 7, and I'm left with 1. 3 and 6 are both divisible by 3. I have 1b in the numerator times 1. 1b times 1 is really just 1b, or b, and 1 times 2 is 2. b over 2, and leave it like that. Okay, what if I have mixed numbers? If you have a mixed number, you're going to do the same thing for division as you did with multiplication. Mixed numbers are converted to improper fractions before multiplying by the reciprocal. Let's review. 1 3/4, rewritten as an improper fraction. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. So 7/4. Please rewrite the problem in the first step without changing to multiplying and without doing the reciprocal. Just rewrite your fractions as improper. If you try to combine the two steps, you will make a lot of mistakes. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 5 is 21/8. And so that answer is negative 21/8. Now that I have this written as improper, I'm ready to solve the problem. I'm ready to solve 7/4 times 8/21, and it's negative. So let's simplify. 7 and 21 have a common factor of 7. 4 and 8 have a common factor of 4. 1 times negative 2, don't forget this negative here. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. My answer is negative 2/3. That might give you a bit of a challenge, so I'd like to work one more together with you. This one is also in your notes, so let's try it. 1 and 1/3. I need to convert that to improper. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4/3. I keep the problem division because the first step is to convert all mixed numbers to improper. Then I begin the solving process. 4/3 times 6/5. Because I'm multiplying, I can simplify before I multiply, and then I multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. 8/5 is the same as 1 and 3/5. I'd like you to pause the video and try B and C on your own. Come on back when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. The first step is to convert all mixed numbers to improper. The second step is to multiply by the reciprocal. In multiplying fractions, I simplify the fractions by dividing out common factors. You should have gotten negative 4/3 as your answer, which is the same as negative 1 and 1/3. The next one. 25/2 is 12.5 as an improper fraction. Leave it division. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5/3. Then I multiply by the reciprocal. 5 and 25 are both divisible by 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 goes into 15 7 times, and 1/2 is remaining. My answer is 7 1/2. All right, we need to talk about one of these that has variables in it. 6 over 35t divided by 3 and 7 over 7t. The rules are the same. You multiply by the reciprocal. 6 over 35t stays the same. Division becomes multiplying, and 3 over 7t becomes 7t over 3. Then I simplify the numerators and denominators that have common factors. 6 and 3 have a common factor of 3. 7t and 35t have a common factor of 7t, right? So t's cross out and become 1. And then 7 and 35 are both divisible by 7. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. My answer is 2/5 because my variables canceled out. All right, last bit for today. I'd like you to pause the video and show me that you can do these last two problems on your own. Come on back to compare your answers to mine. All right, negative 5/24 times 12/7. 12 and 24 have a common factor of 12. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. 2 times 7 is 14. Negative 5/14. The next one. They aren't mixed numbers, so I can just go right into the solving step. Do you notice that what I have here, 15/19 and 9/15 are reciprocals? When I multiply reciprocals together, a cool thing happens. They all cancel out and equal 1. All right, it's time for you to give your homework a try. Your homework is on page, oops, we're skipping that one, page 245.